I think we have to have survival kits about all these methods, because these methods and the approaches were successful some days in the history. And it is a summary of human heritage, a lot of theories, experience, activities. And if we can look at the background, theories and techniques, we will find sometimes some of our student background or environment is similar to one of them. We can adapt those activities. They can give us hints to be able to deal with our context. Always be updated. Try to follow the recent trends in the ELT. That was about survival kits. To be and not to be. And that's very critical. To be flexible rather than rigid. Jeremy Harmer, in his book, How to Teach English, 2001, said, good teachers are flexible enough to cope with the different situation in the classroom. I added different in the classroom because I took the quotation from a general context. And so, to be flexible enough to cope with the situation, with the context that you are in. We might start our class with communicative language teaching and ends with grammar translation. We might put a lesson plan in some sort, and when we are in the class, we change it. And I think if we have here some, and most of you, I think, have experience in teaching. And many times we set up a plan, and then inside the class we change, or we adapt, or modify. And so a good teacher has to be flexible, responsive, respond to the needs of your learner, respond to the needs of your context, respond to the need of our situation. Creative rather than a semi-logical machine. Because we cannot be machine, but we can be semi-logical machine. So the good teacher has to be creative. Create your own. People who started this approach were creative. They started new ideas and they started new application or implication. Why not we? Why can't we be such creative and start our own? But still bearing in mind our learner. Because it is the learner who should learn. Evaluator rather than examiner. Most of the time we hear ourselves talking to each other. Oh, this group of students are stupid. They do not understand. I'm sorry to say, when we say this, it means we are stupid. We could not understand what our learners need. What is the problem in our context? So be evaluator. Evaluate the whole situation, the whole context, the whole matter. Evaluate all the environment to be able to develop, rather than just to be examiner to the student and their performance. They succeed, they fail. I think with this, the survival kits, as well as those characteristics we need in teacher, we can be able to address our context successfully. For me, I followed these, or they are out of my experience, and I could manage to differentiate my styles, my methods of teaching from a class of 400 students into a class of 10 students. From a class of children into a class of adult managers of companies who come to the class and they think themselves, I am the manager of X company. I'm coming to study. You have to cope with the situation. You have to deal with the situation. And alhamdulillah, according to my friends, I could succeed. I will not say according to myself, because I think I succeeded. Well, to remember, we looked in this short presentation into the diversity of teaching learning context, survival kits, to be and not to be. And before we close our presentation, let's remember what works well in one situation may not. It is not may. will not work in another situation. Let's inspire our teaching methods from our learners and our context. There is a crazy letter, I'm sorry to call it crazy, I posted in the discussion board. Yeah, I would be happy if you have a look and give me your reflection about that board. Thank you for listening, and I'll be happy to
Thank you so much. Marvelous performance, I think. Rhetorical performance. So thank you so much for the content and the clearly the effort that you put into it. Questions for Fadil?
Yes,
I'm
please.
wondering about how you can identify and analyze the needs from the students. So can you give a kind of example from your own experience to show
Analyze
how
what?
you analyze and identify the needs from the students
The
from
needs.
large classes?
Yeah, the needs of the student, how to analyze it. Of course, we have different methods and different ways of analysis, starting with the formal questionnaires and ending with the informal interviews and observation to the student inside the class. For me, what I try to use always, I try to know about the background of the student. Are they homogeneous or heterogeneous in terms of English background? Have they got some English before or not? Their age, etc. And when I start with the student, I encourage them always to talk, to speak, to criticize, to tell me what they like and what they don't like. In the third class, and most of my students know about this, in the third class, I distribute a sheet of papers to them, pieces of papers, and I ask them to write in their mother tongue what they like about the classes, what they don't like. And through these pieces, I discover the lot of what they want and what they think about teaching and learning. Of course, if they are advanced, I ask them to write in English. If they are beginners, I ask them to write in Arabic, because my aim here is not the language, as it is to measure what they want and what problems they face. At the end of the course, we always try to distribute a kind of questionnaire with some items, so that it can help to develop the next course if it is a like group or similar group. And this we used in the private school only, unfortunately. Yes?
Your class of 400 students, was that interactive or was it a lecture?
It was supposed to be a lecture, but I tried to make it crazy interactive. Yeah. This is what my students always call me, crazy teacher.
Well, Fadil, that 400 students, what was the room like? Was it an enormous lecture theatre?
Yes, a very big room. And they were studying two departments, English, computer engineering and computer programming. And I was supposed to teach them English for technical purposes, for technical computer. What I did, of course, with this huge number, I cannot say that I could address each student. The first thing, I canceled something called attendance, taking attendance. It will take the whole class, so no attendance. And I told them that my door is always open. So when you ever think you want to come to my class, come. If you feel bored, don't take my permission, please go. Just silently, because it will get a lot of noise. I try to be near to them and to joke with them. And I'll give you one example of activities that I tried to make it interactive. I divided the class into 4 groups. Of course, 4 huge groups. Yeah. And I asked each group to have a representative. So I have 4 representatives on the stage. I distributed for them a task consists of 10 items, and they are supposed to fill in the blank, to complete. And the board was divided into four parts, according to the names of the groups. We named the group and so on. And what I asked them to work for 10 minutes, and they can move with themselves within the group. They can collect the answer, they can talk to each other, but I try to encourage them to be in English, and someone from each group observing. Of course, they can cheat me very easily, but trying to encourage them. And at the end, the representative of each group choose 10 people from the group to come and write their answer before telling them the answer. After that, the representative choose another people to come and revise the answer, 4 people from each group. After I finish, I come to give them the right answer, and then we give some big clap to the winner group. What I noticed that all the class kept working and trying.
Way of operating.
Yeah.
Adil, thank you so much. Another round of applause.